Welcome to the Cycle Coach Show.
Empowering conversations on menstrual cycle coaching.
We're your hosts, Claire Baker
and Lauren Olivia Hughes.
So Monique, can you give us an introduction to who you are and the awesome work that you're doing in the world today?
Yeah, this is so tricky because I'm a Kiwi, I'm from New Zealand, and we're not really that good about talking about ourselves. I'm Monique, or Mon, and I am a mom and a wife. I'm a farmer's wife. I'm a menstrual cycle coach. I'm a women's hormonal health coach. I don't know. What else do you want to know? I'm pregnant with my fifth child.
5 kids is so cool. Did you have a big family?
Yeah, I'm the eldest of 6.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So no one was really that surprised.
Awesome. And have your siblings also gone on to have big families?
Because I was the eldest and I started so young, like I was in my early 20s. They're really just starting now. So yeah, I'm having my last. It's definitely my last baby. And everyone's kind of starting. And I think there'll be a couple of big families in there too, because there's something about big families that just, like, we're all so close. I feel like it's a real family unit. And that's kind of what we wanted to in my family, like to just have these kids that were like they're friends with their siblings, essentially.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I'm the eldest of 5 and so I share the eldest daughter role with you. And next week, 4 of us will be together for Easter. One's abroad, so she can't make it. But it's, it happens so rarely now, honestly, that we all get together. But I'm really looking forward to it. I've planned all these recipes and activities, and there's nieces and nephews now. So it's, it's cool. It's nice when everyone gets together, big families.
Yeah, it's like that. And it doesn't happen that often, but when it happens, it's so special. You want to protect it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do all get very protective, actually. I hear that, definitely. So tell me, what brought you to the women's health, menstrual cycle awareness, hormonal well-being field of work?
Oh, well, I reckon it all started with when I was really young. All I ever wanted to be was a mum, kind of eldest daughter like you. And I just had this desire to have this massive family myself and to be the farmer's wife and be at home. Anyway, I went to university and I found my husband and we got married and we got pregnant with our first child, and then that was all very well. And then our second child came along. And I was just exhausted. I was just giving my all to everybody all the time. I literally thought, and with the role models of the women around me, growing up, that's what women did. We put 3 meals on the table for our husbands every day. We kept the baking tins full. We gave to our kids everything they needed and more. And we had a really tidy home and we looked gorgeous and we always were bubbly and positive and smiley. Anyway, I just couldn't keep it up. I was like, how on earth does anyone even do this? And I felt like I was losing myself and falling apart. And then I read Maisie Hill's book, Period Power. And it was this massive weight was off my shoulder. I don't have to do it all. God didn't actually design women to do it all the time for everyone else. And I'm not broken. It's not about me, and it's also not in my head, it's my hormones doing this to me. Honestly, it felt so amazing. I then went and bought 5 copies of the book and highlighted all the parts that I wanted my husband to read and gave them to my friends and my family. Oh, you guys, there's another way of living and it's aligned and it is how we're meant to be. And then I got so in depth in it, and I was like, of course I'm going to study this, and because I want to tell everybody else about this and how to live so in tune with yourself. But I think what I love the most, it wasn't just in our heads. You know how so many we're just told it's just in your head? This was actually hard hormone science. This is actually how we feel. This is how it changes our body and our energy and our desire and our appetite, all the things. So it really validated me, I suppose, living in quite a masculine world of farming and the gruff men and all of that. I was I feel like I had some like scientific evidence to say, hey, this is actually how women are made and how we are designed. It's not to be on all the time. And it just felt like so much relief, so much weight off my shoulder.
What were the signs for you that the way that you were living wasn't working before you discovered Macy's book?
Like the physical symptoms, like exhaustion, the resentment actually probably is my go-to. Like I was resentful of my husband and what he could do and what I couldn't do. And then that turns into like resentment for the kids. Yeah, and anger as well, and trying to stay quiet about it because I thought this is just what everyone was doing. Turns out they weren't. Like no one can do it all and give it all to everyone all the time. So yeah, that was mostly it. I actually remember my worst point in that part of my journey was when I woke up and I would count down the hours of when the kids went back to bed so I could go to bed as well. Like I was just, that's a trigger. Like when I start counting down the hours, far out, I knew this was not right. Like this is not my dream. Like I wanted to be the mother and the wife and the woman that like was bright and bubbly and had a big family. But if I only had 2 kids and I wanted like 5, how was I ever going to have a 3rd and a 4th and a 5th if I felt so resentful and I wasn't much fun to be around?
Wow. I'm sure that there are many other mothers out there listening who can relate to some of the resentment and the anger and the exhaustion that you're talking about, right?
Yeah, I know, because I see them too in my life still.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to speaking more about the clients you're working with. But I want to stay for a little longer with your journey. So you found Maisie Hill's Period Power, which is such an iconic book, and then realized we're not meant to be on all of the time, and it's perfectly normal. Like you say, it's literally in our physiology to change from week to week. So what were the practical changes that you actually made in your life in order to support this new knowledge that you had?
I love this question because looking from the outside into my life, you wouldn't think much had really changed. Like I still do like put 3 meals on the table a day, like keep the baking tins full and the mum that I want to be. But it's more about the internal shifts and how I go about doing the thing that I need to do in my day. So the energy that I have to approach the task that I need to do, whether I go slow or whether I make it really fast or whether I pull a meal out of the freezer and cancel my appointments for the day, that's the difference. So from the outside looking in, because women often say to me, like, how do you do it all? And you can't really tell from the outside looking in what I'm doing differently because it's all about what's inside me and how I feel.
Yeah, I often find myself answering a lot of questions about cycle syncing with when people want to know how they change everything week to week and how I do it. And honestly, I think like awareness and attitude and the way that we hold ourselves and that self-kindness and gentleness, and like you say, the understanding and the relief that comes with knowing that it's okay not to do it all, that is like the majority of the work actually. And it's not often what people want to hear because they want the practical tips, but yeah, there is actually something to be said for just knowing that it's okay, that the way you're showing up today is different to how you showed up the week before.
Yeah, and that was the gift that doing your program or training and the book gave me. What it's not like, it's more about how I feel, and that's okay. Like whether I wanted to eat 3 like dinners that day or the next week, like we're going to have a smoothie for dinner, and that was okay. Like it wasn't this hard, like have to do, like, you know, we're often told on Instagram or by the doctors or the dietitians, and like you have to eat this way or else. But actually when you tune into your body, and like I suppose it's intuition, isn't it? Like this deep knowing, and you can listen to that and give yourself permission to do that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that can be tough though, right? As well, to give yourself that grace. What do you think helps you to actually allow yourself that space and that flexibility and that kindness that I'm hearing you talk about?
Because I've experienced what happens when I don't enough times for me to learn of that this is now like a non-negotiable. I don't get it right all the time, but I got it seriously wrong at the end of my last pregnancy. Like I just tried to keep going and doing everything, and it was amidst like the COVID lockdown that we had here in New Zealand and a really busy season on the farm. I pushed through, but I just didn't listen to myself. And then one day I quite literally couldn't even get out of bed. Like my body was just like like, you didn't give me rest, now I'm going to force you to rest. And I had 3 young kids and a husband who worked 7 days a week on the farm, and I couldn't help any of them. And that moment, I swore that I'd never let myself get back here again, because I couldn't help anybody, and they had to spend weeks helping me to come back to full health. And so I suppose I needed that to, like, that point, that learning to go, my health is so important, and I can't show up and be the mother and the woman and the wife that I want to be if I don't give myself that. So, like, it was a hard learning for sure, but I had to learn it to continue and go through and give myself the grace and permission that I so easily give myself now.
Yeah, a real reckoning moment. How common do you think that is with women who, who dedicate themselves to this way of living by their cycles? How common do you think that reckoning moment is for people?
Yeah, I reckon for us to go on and teach this and want to help other people, we've probably likely had a real moment, like, and often a real low.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Okay. And you know what's interesting is, like, our cycles and our bodies and our lives change as well. So much throughout our whole lifespan. And there's still moments to come for both of us and for probably many women listening, like menopause, for example, all of these rites of passage, where there might be more lows to come. There might be more moments where the way that the menstrual cycle awareness has worked for us might change, actually. And I'm sure with every birth as well, there's like another moment of, oh, right, now I need to re-listen to what my body's telling me and work in a new way. So it's not like we figure it all out and then here's the perfect plan and now we just follow this indefinitely, right?
No, I think that's part of the beauty of it though, isn't it? Like that, because it's not a set way, like you have to do this in your spring, you must do this in your winter, and you have to eat this way. It's about listening to our bodies, and as long as I think we keep on listening, and then we might think that we've got it right, like you said, and we just go, oh no, this is what I always do in my autumn phase, or this is what I know I need to do, and then oops, the daisies, nope, that's not what your body wants right now. Like, it's all changing, or it's catching up with you, or like these stresses coming from elsewhere that's impacting you. So yeah, I think the beauty of it is that we get to like listen and tune in all the time.
This is something that I find myself teaching a lot when people ask about people ask me, how do we work with women who are mothers or who are in perimenopause or who are experiencing grief and loss through infertility, for example, areas of life that might be unfamiliar to the coach. But I really believe that if we can teach someone the skill of, like you're describing, listening to their bodies, learning how to chart their cycle and to stay present with their experience and adapt and be graceful and kind to themselves, then it doesn't actually really matter what phase of life somebody is in, because these skills will take them all the way through their menstrual path, right?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. But like you said earlier, that's the hard thing to teach someone or to give permission to do. Like, it's much easier to go, here's my way to eat for your cycle, just follow this chart, like, and don't deviate and you'll be fine. But like, that's not actually going to help in long term or for all the other life changes that are yet to come. You're so right.
So let's go back to you. 2021 came and enrolled and trained with us at Cycle Coach School. What was that like for you, beginning your studies there?
Do you remember? I signed up and applied, and then I got pregnant.
I do.
That one wasn't planned. We're going to wait a year, but she came early. I was like, do I do this? Like, what are people going to think? I'm the menstrual cycle coach that got pregnant. I was like going to do this training and I don't have a cycle.
Yeah, talk a little bit more about that, because you're not alone in this. This has happened a number of times now, that someone will enroll and then they'll email me and say, I'm pregnant, can I still take the training? So my answer is, of course, yes, but I'd be really curious to hear what that was like for you.
Yeah, so I ummed and ahed with my husband and with you, like, do I do it? Like, will I still get the maximum out of it? And you said, well, you can absolutely delay it a year, like if you want, like if you don't want to do it this year. And I was like, no, I signed up for a reason and I'm so ready to learn this information. And I think actually it was you said, like, you might come away with something else entirely that somebody who is not pregnant won't get. And I did. I absolutely, like, I don't think I developed it, but I leaned into like the cycle of pregnancy and far out. That has been incredibly amazing. Probably not so much in my professional work life, because I don't work with that many pregnant women. I mostly work with them after pregnancy. But for me to be able to articulate what it's like to go through a pregnancy and the amount of women that say to me, oh my gosh, it was just like that. Like, how did you know? I was like, oh, well, because I did the training and I was pregnant, and I leaned into it so much more than what I would have if I wasn't pregnant. It actually was a real blessing in disguise, as these things often are.
And you went on then to deliver a lesson within our training. So Mon teaches in the training a lesson on the inner seasons of pregnancy. And this has been one of our most popular alumni lessons. And just in the most recent cohort we had 3 of our trainees become pregnant in the first few weeks. So again, a lot of this back and forth, is this still appropriate for me? Oh my gosh. And this lesson was one that I know people were hanging out for, because they were like, okay, I need this map now, this understanding of what kind of cycle I'm on now. So I'd love to give you the floor to just speak about the inner seasons of pregnancy and how this has been like for you to name these, because I think the way that you teach it is really interesting.
Yeah, interesting. So the cool thing is that I'm living it again. Like, I get to not double, not that I was unsure, but I'm so sure of this, definitely I'm on the right track because it's so aligned. So I kind of found into it and found that the first trimester, so the first trimester is from the last day of your menstrual cycle all the way, your last day of your menstrual period, LMP, until about week 13, week 14. So you due for your period about the time that you find out that you have conceived, and so you're expecting to go into your winter. If you know your cycle, then you kind of know you go into winter, and you kind of go into it and you don't come out of it until you finish that trimester. So it is the ultimate act of surrendering, of giving up, of resting, of letting go, which is really hard in itself, but it got a little bit easier because I knew that when what comes after winter is spring. And so the first half of the second trimester of pregnancy is your spring, that inner spring energy. But the really interesting part is the transition between the winter to the spring. So I don't know if this is for everybody, but it's the really hard transition for me when I have my menstrual cycle to go from winter, my bleed, into spring. It was really hard for me in my pregnancy as well, because I kind of got to the end of week 12, week 13, going, oh my goodness, I feel amazing. I just want to bounce out and do all the things. I've got this pregnancy glow and this cute little bump. But I would do that, and then the next day I would be exhausted. So I kind of teeter-tottered or swung in and out of winter spring for 2 weeks, which I found really, really hard. In my menstrual cycle, it's normally on about 2 days that I have to go in and out of winter spring, but it was 2 long weeks. My poor husband, I was like, it's coming, I'm gonna be there soon, just hang on, I'm gonna be there. It was so frustrating. But then I got into my inner spring, and it lasted all the way, I think, until halfway of trimester 2. So that might be around the week 21, that I really felt my energy ramp up, my nurturing ability to really give even more to my family. And I felt that was my inner summer. So I got to access this really high energy, high nurturing, high productivity, really social time for 5 or 6 weeks of my inner summer, which is my second trimester. And then I had to transition after summer into autumn. And my third trimester was like my autumn. It was I had to slow down, I had to surrender, I had to eat different foods, I had to go at life a different pace, I had to have more me time, more bound, all the things that we normally do in our menstrual cycle. I had to really lean on that. And then of course birth came, and then that fourth trimester, the first 6 to 12 weeks after birth, that was an inner winter again, and I was able to really lean into that and soak it up, knowing that spring was coming. So I felt after that fourth trimester, because I rested so much and gave my body so much downtime and connection with my baby, I was able to what's that word, leap into spring, or bounce into spring. And I had an amazing rest of my time until my first period came. I felt I was just consistently in spring because I'd given myself that winter time. So yeah, that was a real short overview of kind of how I felt the inner seasons of your menstrual cycle align with the inner seasons of pregnancy.
And this like framework has been so helpful for like I say, so many trainees who've taken the lesson and then gone on to share it with their clients. I love the way you describe that waiting for your period to come and then discovering that you've conceived. So it's like you're waiting, going from like the inner autumn of your menstrual cycle, then you actually then transition into a much longer inner winter. So the inner winter is, just to recap that, so I've got this right, the first trimester is like an inner winter of resting, surrendering, and really nurturing yourself. And then I love the way you describe this crossover between the inner winter then and the inner spring of pregnancy, because I guess like the month-long menstrual cycle is expanded to around nine or so months. So then it makes sense that some of these transitions between the phases will also be elongated. And the way you describe that inner winter to inner spring transition of the ups and downs is really, that makes so much sense to me. And I'm sure also would be such a relief for women to hear this as well during pregnancy, that there may be these transitions that might actually take longer. It's not like you might just wake up one day and suddenly you're in trimester 2 and your energy has returned and you're feeling great, that it's also normal to have a transition between these phases. And so then that takes us so then in the summer is in that second half of the second trimester, right through to a more slowing down again in trimester 3 and a preparing, nesting, luteal kind of energy before then again another surrender into birth to take you then into the postpartum phase and that first 90 days of winter rest. Incredible. I just love the way these cycles lay over each other and how our menstrual cycle awareness practice can support us in pregnancy as well.
So that was my 4th baby that I experienced that, and I didn't experience that with my first 3. And now that I'm in it again, it's so I'm able to sink into it more, because I know it's not forever. You know how when you feel a certain way, you feel like you're going to feel like that the whole way, all the way to the end of your pregnancy. But I know, because of knowing my cycle so well, and knowing the cycles of pregnancy or the seasons of pregnancy, that it's not like it's going to end, and I can just sink into it now. So it really helped me with my winter, my first trimester this time around, knowing it was definitely going to come to an end. I'm not going to have a whole pregnancy of winter, or I might do if I didn't surrender enough to it. You know what I mean? You just get to really let it happen. And then now I'm out. Now I feel amazing in my spring and looking forward to my summer, and it's just so beautiful. But what I do want to point out is that it was you who asked me the question. I must have been complaining about how hard my transition was or something in the cycle coach training. And you said to me, is this a mirror of what happens in your menstrual cycle normally? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. This is just replaying itself out again, but it's not a couple of days, it's a couple of weeks. So it was that you asked that question that really cemented the learning, wow, this is it.
Yeah, the patterns they really pattern. Patterns are going to pattern. It will show up in your cycle, in your pregnancy, in your births, menopause.
So perimenopause likely as well.
But how awesome to have this knowledge as well. And it's something that I hear a lot from women who have gotten really into menstrual cycle awareness, and they love charting their cycle. And it's been a real support for them. And then they become pregnant, and it's they feel a bit lost at sea, because suddenly this handrail is gone. So this is why this framework that you've articulated and delivered is so powerful, because it means then that it hasn't completely vanished, it's just changed shape. And actually all of these cycles and cycles and cycles they've been practicing are actually going to really support them to, like you say, to know which phase they're in, to embody that phase, and to look forward to what comes next, knowing it's not going to stay how it is. That's really powerful, particularly, I guess, in someone's first pregnancy, but I can imagine in all pregnancies as well.
Yeah, to really hang on to that, I've got something I can lean on. I'm not just lost in this limbo land, with no cycle. I feel it's a little bit like that after your 4th trimester, after you've had that inner winter, you got your really little tiny baby, and then you're left to just go and kind of feel the same all the time, but you still want to grasp onto something. So I felt the moon cycle was really, really strong for me in that time when I literally had no cycle, because I was breastfeeding for like a year, whatever, and still having something to lean into, because it's innately how we've been designed, like to live like that all the time. And then yeah, so it's kind of like ancient wisdom we're bringing back to just permission to lean into your body and give it what it needs and what it's desiring. It's such powerful work.
And this is, I imagine, some of what you're doing with your clients now, because you mentioned most of the women you're working with are postpartum. So I'd love to hear some more about who it is that comes to you, why are they there, what are they needing support with, and what does the work look like that you're doing together?
Yeah, so when I say postpartum or after birth, it's mostly like up to like 7 years after birth. Like they're still and they're just wanting to find themselves. So what I found, so I did cycle coaching, and then I was getting these questions like, why is my period so heavy, or why is my period like not coming all the time, or why am I not ovulating, or why have I got really bad cramps at the time of my period? And I was like, okay, so for some women who are living like with imbalanced hormones, before they can even live out their cycle, they need to balance their hormones so that they can go in and then like not hate on their cycle, but like not really, because they have really negative energy towards it, because it brings them pain and it brings them confusion and embarrassment. And so I then went and did a training to become a woman's hormonal health practitioner, so I could help them to balance their hormones. And then I thought I would teach them about cycle syncing or understand their menstrual cycle, but it's actually like, it's so entwined. We're doing it all at the same time. Like they want to know why they're feeling like the way they're feeling. And then I get to explain, well, this is because you're at this time in your cycle. And then they'll go, actually, I don't feel like that. And I go, well, maybe you didn't ovulate. So let's look back at the signs and what you've been like writing in your journal. So it's kind of beautifully all come together. But mostly women come to me for hormonal trouble now. Like they're mostly exhausted. Like there's nothing left in their tank. They've got no resilience. They're not enjoying their life. They sometimes have periods that are really heavy, or just like resentment. So it's funny, isn't it, that you attract women who are like live the same kind of story that you have. So definitely on that path. And then we work together and we balance their hormones in a really holistic, natural way. I don't rely on supplements to do it. I do all the things like the lifestyle changes, the mindset shifts, the belief things, at the same time as working or helping them to understand where they're at in their cycle. And there's still women out there that need it. I don't know if you feel like this way as well, but you feel like you've been talking about it for so long, and women still come to me like their mid-30s and go, I had no idea. And I was like, I've been talking about this for such a long time. Surely you'd heard it through someone, I'd heard it through someone. But honestly, there's so many women out there who just literally, no one's ever told them, or no one's ever sat down with them and said, hey, it's okay to feel like this. Like it's okay to be really hungry right now. Like, your body needs food. Let's find some food to feed it so it feels really full. Or like heavy periods aren't actually, like they might be normal, but they're not natural in your body. It's a sign, like a symptom your body's trying to show you that you need, like something needs to change in your life. So yeah, so it was a real journey to get there, but now I feel like I've got this beautiful approach to like menstrual cycle awareness and understanding hormones and health and all the things.
Yeah, such a holistic approach that you're able to offer by supporting women on their hormonal health journey, and then looking at how they're feeling across their menstrual cycle and offering that piece around grace and kindness and learning how to really embrace this work. Why do you think, I mean, I know what I think, but I'm so curious to hear why you think this is so important for mums to have?
Oh, so much. I love this conversation. Like, so women or mothers are literally raising the next generation, and she is being the example to her daughters. I used to talk a lot about just showing your daughters how to live, but then I realized a woman is really the first, or the mother is the first example of what a woman is to her son as well. So it's just as important that we show our sons what a woman's body feels and how it's designed to live, as well as like giving our daughters permission. And we can't show or teach our children without living it ourselves. I like 100% believe it all starts with the mother in the home, that she has to like get herself healthy, bring healthy habits in, understand her body, understand her needs and her wants. And it's not until she can articulate what she actually wants, like we give her the tools to articulate what she actually is feeling, that she can then ask for what she wants, right? We hear so many women like say, I don't know what I would even do with an afternoon, or I'm so cross and I'm so grumpy, or the kids just do this, but last week they didn't. So they need us to like give them permission to feel that way, and then to guide them to as to why they might feel like that, and then to create some kind of, like, they can ask their family and use words like that is going to really help their family understand where they are at. And so it becomes like you're literally changing generations, because when the mother can explain what she needs or why she's feeling this way, then it just becomes normal language in the house, and it's not like shamed upon or like weird that the mum's telling her children that she's got her period, so she's going to put the TV on now and sit on the couch. Like, and that's just okay. And we need more of that. So when the son grows up and finds a wife to marry or other woman in his life, he's able to like give them permission to rest and like take it easier on their bleed, compared to if he didn't have a mother that showed him that that's normal and that's how it happens. So it's just so powerful that we get to raise our children in a household like this.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I have tingles on my body listening to you speak, just thinking about the generational impact. On the surface, this work so often just looks like balancing your hormones and feeling good, and actually it's a revolution.
It is. It's so needed. I have this wonderful story. It's not wonderful, it's actually a really sad story, not just a scary story, it was a realistic story. So I've got 4 brothers, right? And so we were at a family gathering at my parents' house one day. I just finished your training and I got the iPad out and I was so excited to show everybody what the hormones were doing. And so I sat down at the tabletop. My brother came and like watched over one shoulder. One of my brothers came and watched over my one shoulder, and my uncle, so who the next generation above us, came and watched over my other shoulder. And I was like drawing out the hormones and what it did. Then I split them into the 4 seasons and like kind of explained them, like how this is how a woman feels in this one and this one. And I was like just so passionate about it. Like, and then my brother said to me, "It's okay, I just need 2 wives, so one's always in like this half of the cycle." And I was like, it's not really the point. And my uncle's like, no, I need 4 wives, so I've always got a wife in that summer part. And I was like, you are the reason that women feel like this. We're really hit home that this is the world that we are living in. Like, this is what the men, whether it's their fault or not, are expecting and projecting onto the woman in their lives. And this is why we are so exhausted and why we're trying to give too much of ourselves. Like, we don't let ourselves slow down and listen to our bodies. It's a real moment, like far out. This is what we're battling against. And whether it's like the boys' fault or not, or it's how they were indoctrinated into society and like their grandparents and all the things. But wow, that really hit home.
Yeah, it makes me think about how important it is for a mum to have support to be able to make these changes and to be able to live her her most cyclic self in the home. Because on one hand, it's like, yes, let's break these generational patterns and let's cook beautiful whole food in the home for the family, and let's get everybody on this gorgeous cyclic rhythm and model the way that we really want to be living. All of us, like even men, they're cyclic beings as well. They go to sleep every night. They have their own patterns and cycles. But if we're trying to do it by ourselves and we're not supported by people around us, that makes it really tough. And I do fear that the labor then is really on the female to again be like doing like this, doing all of the work. And so I'm curious, like maybe in your own relationship or in the relationships that your clients are in, and for anyone listening who's like, yeah, I want this, but I would also really need my partner to get on board, what would you suggest?
It's a tricky one. And I think it starts, I had a lovely conversation with Charlotte on her podcast about this, like encouraging our men, empowering our men to like stand up in the home. Because initially, and what my husband or my brother and my uncle were thinking at that conversation was like, well, they have to deal with the unhappiness and the grumpiness, and they have to pull their weight more in the home when the woman wants to rest or when she doesn't want to cook a meal for the family or something. And so they just see that level of it, but they were missing the level of like the extra connection, the extra love, like the extra vulnerability that comes with a woman who's able to be freely herself. Like how much more we have, so much to give. I'm constantly surprised how much love we have to give, but not when we're exhausted and resentful and bedraggled and like we got nothing to give and we're trying to give it all the time. But I always think the first step, and it does, like the change does come from us as being the mother and the wife in the home. The first step is to understand where the male is coming from and what he's seeing. So like in my rural community and my rural like generational patterns in my family, the male's job is to go out on the farm and do the jobs, and he comes home and the woman does everything inside the house. And that's what my husband's mother did. So when I can understand that it's not his fault that he can't support me to be like this, because that's literally the only blueprint that he was shown, was his mother doing that. So once I understood, then I had more compassion that it wasn't his fault that he didn't know what I was trying to explain to him. And so I think when we come at it from that angle, like, and don't expect like overnight it's going to be absolutely amazing, understand everything and like know my cycle better than I do, like he does now, but we have to understand where we're starting from, and we have to, and then the next part is, like I talked about before, we have to be able to articulate what we actually need or want or desire from them. We can't just let them guess where we're at, what we're needing, and they haven't read the books and like done the courses and like the trainings and haven't like sat down with the menstrual cycle coach. Like they need us to be really clear, but not come at it at a I told you this, like you have to do this is not my coach. And we need to come at it at a really like gentle, loving, nurturing, empowering way that we can, hey, like my hormones are really low right now. I would really appreciate it if you could just sort dinner tonight, or we get takeaways or whatever it is. Can you do that for me, please? So I can go and rest. I think that's where it starts. And I think that's hard, like it just is.
Yeah, it can be tough, right? To articulate what you need, and to also extend compassion and understanding to our beloveds, you know, whether they're male or female, you know, even in same-sex relationships, two women are going to have different menstrual cycle experiences as well. So I think it's really important that we know our own bodies, and we have done this beautiful work of understanding our cycles. Maybe we've worked with a menstrual cycle coach, or we've taken a course online, but we've really worked with it for a while. And then, to come at that conversation with faith in our partner as well, that they're going to want the best for us and want the best for our relationship. And again, it's challenging because often it can, like you say, there can be assumptions based on past experiences, based on what they saw in their family of origin home and what the gender roles were like in that space. So, you know, it's like, I think for anyone listening, you know, I get it that this can be really tough, and I think the more we can just be gentle and patient with each other and not expect perfection or dramatic changes overnight, and take it slowly too, you know. But I think this like faith, like you say, like really trusting that the person that we've chosen to spend our life with also wants us to feel good, and they're going to see the benefit and experience the benefit over time. And I imagine that now, you know, I'd love to hear, like, would your husband be an advocate now for menstrual cycle awareness and living like this, having witnessed the transformation in you and I imagine your marriage?
Absolutely. And he's not like a staunch Kiwi bloke, but he's like, his parents are farmed, his grandparents are farmed, and like he comes from that real rural masculine, the man does the work and the woman does the stuff inside. And we've managed to, I wouldn't say flip it completely because I still do all the stuff inside, but he is so aware of my cycle, or he was before I was pregnant, and my energy. And it was just like, we've got to the place where it's not even like talked about that much, like we just know. But I've been on this journey for more than 5 years, and it didn't start out that way. And it started out with, I really had to ask for what I needed and why I needed that. And I often would say, it would make me feel so supported if you could, or I would really like he was giving me more than just a dinner. He was giving me the support and the love that I needed. But like the flip side to him doing the action to help me out or whatever in the home, then I then had to really, and also felt like it because he was like filling my love bank or doing more for me, like show him that extra love in that summer and that spring season, you know, even in the autumn season. Like you just, like the more that we ask of him, the more that we I don't say have to love them, but we kind of want to love them. So they need to get both sides of the stick here. Like it's not just like they need to get the whole picture to see how it happens. And we're so blessed that it happens like month after month. Like we get lots of times to practice this. Like you don't have to get it right the first time. You can you've got so many cycles to practice and to tweak it and find what works for your marriage. So it's a real gift, honestly. But if I can turn my very male husband and my very staunch traditional husband into someone who understands a woman's cycle completely, then I just hope it gives somebody else hope in their marriage that they can do the same. And then I feel like I'm having my 4th girl. So my husband's going to have 4 girls in the house, like 4 teenage girls at once, because they're so close, and 1 son. So I kind of feel like this was my destiny, or this is my God-given path to learn this about my cycle so that I could go and pass it on to my 4 daughters and my 1 son.
Oh yeah, yeah. With my family of origin, there's 4 girls and 1 boy. So same gender balance there. And my dad is so up to speed with all of this. He also married a nurse, so he was always going to, be down with these conversations. But even this last month, I had my period, and I'm been staying with my parents while I'm settling back into Australia, and he just happily empties the bin, with like menstrual products in there. Like he washed my reusable pads the other day, and then came and delivered them. He's like, "Here you go, sweetheart," and just brought my menstrual pads back into the room. And it's just like, yeah, I had this moment of thinking, wow, I wonder how many dads would be like as relaxed about this as my dad is. And he grew up with no sisters, just a family of boys and his mum. So I know that having daughters has really helped to shape his understanding of how important this work is. And he's so supportive of my work too. So like you say, it is about, menstrual cycle awareness is of course about supporting females and women to like really care for themselves and know what they need in each phase, and to be able to live more freely and to feel great. But it's for men too, right? Like it really is. It's for all humans. It's for all humans to learn about the magic of cycles, and how we all move through different phases, and how none of us should be expected to show up the same every single day, regardless of our body. We just have an extra one that they don't have. Yeah, beautiful. All right, Mon, I'm curious if there's anything we haven't touched on yet that you'd like to talk about.
Nothing really, other than if anyone is sitting out there and listening to the podcast and has some kind of like hormonal imbalance or symptom that they're struggling with, and I often get told, oh, my mum had heavy periods, so that's why I have heavy periods. And I just like, you don't have to have heavy periods. Like that was not what God put you on this earth to have to suffer with. Like we really do get to have a say in how healthy our bodies are, and there will be a root cause as to why the heavy periods are happening. And it's not about the heavy periods themselves. Like we don't just want to treat the heavy periods with things. We want to actually go, so why is your periods heavy? So why are your hormones imbalanced? So why is that happening? So why is that? But like, it's just, we need to go really deep to fix it. And I just feel like there's so many women out there who are suffering with not just heavy periods, but like exhaustion or poor sleep or acne or like weight loss or weight gain like for no reason, or sluggish, like any of this. Like it's often say it's normal, but it's not natural. Like we weren't put here to live with that. So if anyone is struggling with that, then reach out to a health professional, or I find doctors don't treat the root cause. They're really good at treating the symptom and like keeping us alive, but you need to find someone who's like specialize in women's health and can actually go deep with you, and not just in a one session, like in a like over time to work it out. And yeah, I just see so many women suffering with so many horrific symptoms that they just put down to, well, this is just what it's like, the price or the cost of being a woman, or my mum had it, or well, she's tried everything. Well, I just want to give you hope that there is a way, and there's often a solution to fix it when you fix the root cause to feeling better and energized and your health back on track. There is always something we can do.
And what would you say to anyone listening who wants to do that work, who wants to work with women to better understand their cycles, and who maybe even feels really called to working with mums? Like, what would you say?
Absorb everything you can about it, and I think you'll know if you know. I feel like it's this inner calling to do the work, and nothing will really like stop you. Things will get in your way for sure, but nothing will really stop you from actually doing what you need to do. So we need more women doing that. Claire has an amazing training. There's lots of incredible trainings. Claire's one, what I loved about yours and what I learned about cycle coach training was not just like the menstrual cycle awareness, but also how to hold space. I think we need more women holding space for other women, because a lot of the work is just done in the holding space and the amazing question asking. And yeah, so please find a way to do the work. We need more women doing the work.
Yeah, I agree. We definitely do. And the industry is definitely growing. I think more people have ears to hear this message now. More people are open to having these conversations. So yeah, there's so much room and space for more people. Like you say, sometimes it can be surprising when you have a conversation with someone and they're like, I didn't know that I need to eat regularly. No one had ever told me that that could have such an impact on my life. I think often practitioners like you and I can live in little bubbles where we're following a lot of other people who are teaching about fertility or menstrual cycle awareness and hormone health. But the reality is when we step outside of this bubble, this lovely bubble, we realize that there are so many women who are desperate for this knowledge and may not even realize that they need it yet, but they're beginning to understand how important it is.
Absolutely. Women often go, like, I've been to the doctor, like, who else do I go to for my health? And I'm like, there's so many options now. But yeah, it's not mainstream yet, but the more that we talk about it, the more that like we see and share online and socials, it's just it's so exciting to watch the space. Like, it's been 5 years nearly, I think, that I've been doing it. It's such a joy, such a gift to be able to bring this work to the world, isn't it?
So are you still working then in preparation for baby number 5? If somebody wanted to come and work with you, then what could they expect and how could they go about that?
Absolutely. So I take my last clients on in June because I work in 3-month capacities. So June is my last intake of new clients I work one-to-one with. But I've developed an app called Nourish, where it's women who are over 35 who want to learn about all the things they can do to get healthy, from the inside out. So it's not relying on supplements, doing the actual lifestyle changes. And I've laid it all out in a step-by-step pathway. So that will continue to go. And I've got a team of girls who help me with that. So I can still take my maternity leave and sync into my family and do all the things. All that still runs. So yeah, you can work with me with the app or through one-on-one until June is my last intake.
Amazing. I was just checking out the app actually before we spoke, and we hadn't yet got to that. But yeah, you've developed an app. That's amazing. There can't be too many apps like this out there that I can think of, specifically for women over 35 who want to understand this work.
Yeah, not
really cool.
Not in my approach, they're not relying on supplements, changing your health at a real lifestyle approach way, and it also has a community built into it. So it's like a Facebook group or group inside the app. So it's we're in there every day. It's very cool. It's very special.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I'm going to go and download it now. So that's the Nourish app.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you have to go through my website to get it. It's hard to find on the App Store.
Okay, we'll link to it.
Yeah, we will.
Easy.
Thanks.
Well, congratulations on getting that together. Congratulations on baby number 5. And thank you so much for talking with us today. I've just loved everything that we've meandered through. And I really celebrate the work that you're doing in the world and the joy and the passion that you bring to it, because it's just so it's such a pleasure for me to speak with you and to feel. And again, I'm so grateful for the lesson that you've contributed to our training on the inner seasons of pregnancy, and just want to affirm how powerful that's been for a lot of our trainees. So thank you for the courage to name these things. It's really powerful for future generations.
Thank you, Claire. I 100% wouldn't be sitting here doing this work if it wasn't for you. So from my heart to yours, thank you for being brave enough to bring to the world your work as well. I know it's not an easy journey, and you're doing it. You're a trailblazer.
So much love. We'll link to all of your socials and stuff like that. What's the best way for people to find you?
Yeah, Instagram is where I'm at. Instagram. Yeah.
Instagram. Yeah. Cool. And on Instagram, you are at Monique Dickson _, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Whoops, where have I just gone? Awesome. Okay. Well, I think that's probably it. Let's leave it there. That was great.
Oh, thanks, Claire. It was so lovely.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Cycle Coach Show. If you loved what you heard, then please review, share, and subscribe to help us reach more cyclical listeners like you. You can find us on Instagram at Cycle Coach School or online at cyclecoachtraining.com.